Good evening. My name is Russell Akaway, and you're watching Respect. Respect is a live TV talk show with young people discussing vital topics of the day. Respect has two purposes. One, it gives youth a voice, and two, it's young people helping young people. It's teenage-driven, not adult-driven. Tonight, our show is about young people's biggest fears. Now, depending upon where they are, their current environment will really determine what their fears are. For example, tonight we have someone in high school, and then we have another young person in college. We have some other people who graduated from high school and are thinking about their future and going to college. And so their different situations represent different kinds of fears and anxieties in their present life, from home, from school, friends, peers. So let me begin by introducing. We have a new guest here tonight, Kyla. What's your last name again?
Guillaume.
Guillaume. Kyla Guillaume. Jessica Scott, Maria Velez, and Lenice Ray. Okay, they've all volunteered. They're all very sharp and articulate, and we should have a really good show. So let's start with one of the first questions. You know, people will say, you know, I'm anxious, I have anxieties, or I have fears. What's the real difference between a fear and anxiety? Anyone want to take a crack at that? Yes?
I think that both anxiety and fear are two very similar topics, but as much as they have in common, you still have that difference. And I think the difference between anxiety and fear is that when you have anxiety, it's like it has to do with your mental. And for example, if you're walking down a street, a dark street, you start to have an anxiety, you start to have butterflies in your stomach, and you start thinking, what happens if somebody comes from the back, tries to jump me, or what happens if somebody tries to kill me? So you're thinking, and fearing is I think it's mostly like somebody has a gun and it's pointing at you. You're fearing that. So I think those are the big differences.
Okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to go. I think fear is anything that makes you breathe faster, makes your muscles tighter, makes your heart race. Anything that scares you. I think that fear is controllable. I think you can choose to not fear something. I think you can control that. However, I think anxiety is uncontrollable. Like you said, I think it has a lot to do with your mental. So I think anxiety you have to get treated for. I think fear, you can control it on your own if you know the steps on how to control it. Yeah.
Okay.
I have like kind of a different view on it. I feel like anxiety is just like nervousness. Like I'm anxious about being on TV, so my heart beats faster, I'm sweating and stuff like that. But if fear is like, if I have fear of dark places, I'm not going to go into a room unless the light is turned on. Or if I have a fear of the boogeyman under the bed, I'm not going to look under the bed. So I feel like fear is something that more controls your actions, whereas anxiety is just like a feeling that goes away, whereas fear stays there for as long as you allow it to.
Do you want to take a shot at it?
Yeah, I feel that fear and anxiety is two state of minds. Fear is more emotional, whereas something that you developed over time, and is this something you can overcome over time? Whereas an anxiety, like Jesse said, is more physical, like you can't help it without help. And then I think that fear causes anxiety, so it is similar, but I feel that fear makes your anxiety.
Okay. Okay. The closest definition to it was yours, basically. Fear is really a panic. When you talk about fear in a clinical way, you're talking about people who are afraid to get on elevators, afraid to go out of their homes, afraid of snakes. It's very specific. And it differs from anxiety in that it's more intense. The reaction is more intense. There's a panic with the fear. Fear of swimming, just the person's, as you said, their physiological state just goes haywire. Whereas anxiety, you don't have that. It's a constant state. It's not a brief state like fear. For example, you have anxiety about taking a test. It could last for 2 months. You know, you have anxiety about meeting a date, going out on a date. You have anxiety about approaching a parent with a particular problem. It's ongoing, whereas fear is not ongoing. It's very specific. It's intense. So what are we really talking about tonight? We're really talking about young people's anxieties, wanting to be liked, wanting approval, wanting acceptance. And it's a constant, wanting the teacher's approval, wanting a parent's approval. You may not consciously think about it when you're in the situation, but it's there. It's always there. So what, we'll talk about your anxieties a little later, but what do you think young people's anxieties about today? I mean, we're living in a technological society. People don't communicate really that much anymore. On the bus, I must see 10 people with their, Blackberries, and what the hell's going on?
I live on my BlackBerry. I'm on Facebook updating my status. I'm on BBM, all of that. I think it's more like being that we're in a more technological state as a society, there's less communication amongst people. So it's like I feel like our generation, we don't really know how to interact with each other because we're so used to texting or being online or even playing like Xbox all day. I know I had to deal with that last summer. I was just on my Xbox all day. And it's like when you come across an issue or when you have a conflict or something like that, you don't know how to deal with it because you're so used to these indirect ways of dealing with the issue. So even like when we're talking about anxieties and fears, even with dealing with our own fears or our own anxieties, like we don't know how to deal with them because we're not used to having hands-on situations where we have to deal with it. We're used to avoiding everything.
You're talking about socially, relationships.
Like socially with relationships. We don't know how to do these things like in a healthy way because we're all used to avoiding it. We're used to using other outlets to express ourselves than like regular conversation, which is the simplest way to express yourself.
So would you say that it's an avoidance of people?
I would think so.
Yeah.
A way to not so much avoid interactions with, not so much avoid other people, but also to avoid ourselves.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Anyone else? Jessica? Someone else want to respond?
Yeah, I think it is easier to avoid things nowadays because technology is so much more advanced. So it makes it easier for us to take our minds off our anxieties or even interacting with people, communing with our moms and dads. So it's definitely harder for us to communicate as a generation. Like we're used to texting instead of actually sitting down and having real conversations.
What's the fear? Okay, we have a caller. Yes? Do you have a question or an issue? Oops. Hello? Somebody might have hung up. All right, so We have a lot of people texting.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Okay.
That's good. Is your name's Russell, right?
Yes.
Hey, I got a fear.
I hope this is going to be a good.
No, it is. I'm a young person. I'm a teenager, and I got a fear of spiders.
Fear of spiders.
Yeah, I just don't like spiders. I see them all the time. I don't know. I kind of get short out of breath, and I just have I just always fear because. By the way, can I see your penis?
That's what I figured. That's one of what's his name's, Howard Stern's cronies. So let's get back to this. Is it that young people are, it just makes it easier not to talk to the parents or to teachers and just to withdraw? What's so hard about it? Is it difficult to talk to parents today and caregivers?
I would say it's very difficult. You always want to feel like somebody accepts you for you, and you you want to be yourself, so it's kind of easy to, like hide and be yourself on the down low rather than tell them what's really going on, because you don't ever want them to disown you or, not like you for you. So it's easier to hide.
Can I say something?
Yes.
I think it's also like the generation difference, because our generation deals with issues that, like, let's say my mother didn't have to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, it's a different time, so the crimes that go on now, like the intensity of the issues that are going on now didn't happen back then. You know what I mean? Like, so many girls weren't getting pregnant back then. So many people in our age group weren't contracting HIV back then. You know what I mean? Like, we're dealing with a whole another set of issues that they had never dealt with. My mom's like, you're gay? Like, oh my God, I never heard of stuff. Like, they didn't have, like, they had pride back then, but like, it's not on the scale that it is now. Like, everyone's like, this is me, but we're not really talking about who we are. And so when it's time to talk about who we are, we don't know how to express that to our parents, especially because parents are like the most influential people in your life. Like, you know them from the time you're born. So for you to come to them and try to tell them something and you don't know how they're gonna react, like, I guess that's a fear. Like, I know when I tell my mom something, even if it's something like simple, I get nervous. I'm like, oh my God, what is she gonna say? Like, is she gonna be mad at me? Like, I don't know what I would do if my mother was mad. It's like, my friend is mad at me, okay, you get new friends, you know what I mean? But you don't get new parents. Like, I don't know. Maybe it could just be me, but.
Or any caregiver. It doesn't necessarily have to be your parents, anybody that took care of you. It's like you never want to, if you come out and if you do say something, you never want them to shut you down. Or, you want them to accept you for you. And so I just had to add on to, I liked what you said, Kyla.
So you're really talking about the need for approval? It's one of the...
Pretty much.
One of the anxieties that you have, and you have that with your peer group. Well, so what? What if people don't approve of you?
It's not just any people. It's the people that we love and care for the most. We want
And who are those people?
Whether your sisters, your brothers, your mothers.
No.
Your
The people that respect you. The people that respect you and
That's
accept you. Those are the people you love. Right?
Right. But then if you think about it, it's like, well, you're in high school, right? You know, in high school, like the cool people table and then the uncool people's table. Like, no one wants to be at the losers table. It's just the reality, because like, not to make it seem like I'm trying to call people losers or popular, but the fact is, when you're an outcast, you get treated differently than the people that everyone likes. So everyone wants to be liked by everyone because you get treated better, you get more recognition, you get invited to the parties, or, you know what I mean? You get more positive feedback from your peers, whereas if you're not in and you don't do what you have to do to be in, then, you know what I mean, it's different. So I know everyone's seen Mean Girls. It's just like that. Like, high school is like that.
And what price do you pay for that?
People lose themselves.
Yeah,
Do you want to talk about that? Yeah. What do you lose?
You lose your identity. Like the things that you would like necessarily, the people who are supposedly cool, they might not like it. So because they don't like it, you would choose not to do it and you would give up your passion. So you lose your identity in the process.
And what does that say about you if you just give it up like that? It wasn't strong and solid enough to begin with, right? To resist that, you're nodding your head.
I just no, because I know what that feels. I mean, I think we've all been through that stage where you want to be treated like someone understands you, but you don't know what can you do so that person can understand you. And sometimes in high school, people don't understand who you are, and they judge you just from the looks. They look at you and they judge you. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that you want to hide. And the way you hide is that you try to be that person's friend. So if that girl or boy likes to smoke, then you want to smoke because they're not gonna laugh at you no more. So then you're gonna be this new different person, but it's not gonna be you. And if they like to go shopping, then you like to go shopping. You know, you're always following. You're never going to be a leader. And I think that's when people start to lose themselves, because I'm the kind of person that I don't care if I sit by myself on the table. I don't care if the world is sitting on a different table than me. I don't care, because in high school, I learned that you have to be strong and you have to be solid if you want to conquer something. And if you want people to look at you different, you definitely want to show them that you guys can do that. I don't care. I'm going to do what I think is right. And I think that's where most of the high schoolers lose themselves, to try to be someone they're not. So, yeah.
Do you agree with that, Lenise?
Yes, I do, completely.
Were you like that as a teenager?
I wouldn't say not necessarily. Like, you try to do stuff that was in, but I wouldn't say I would give up something I was passionate about or try to follow. Like, I was fine, comfortable with just sitting by myself or sitting with 2 or 3 people at a lunchroom because we made fun for what it was worth. And I felt that the time that I had in high school, I made the best out of it, even if I didn't talk to a lot of people. Yeah, you know a lot of people in high school, but you're not going to necessarily talk to them after you leave high school. So the friends that I made in high school, I tend to stay friends with them. And
through college?
Yes, through college.
That's great. That's great. So you don't care one way or the other?
Yeah, I don't. Like, I mean, I love my family and I love my friends. And if you're a true person, if you're a real friend, then you'll stick with me no matter what. You know, and if somebody's making fun of me or somebody is talking about me, you would stick with me no matter what, and you would give me strength and you would try to guide me through, you know? I mean, I've had a lot of people that have talked behind my back. I think we've all had that thing where people just turn your back on you, you know? Mm-hmm. And that shows me that that person wasn't true. So, like it was a rotten apple, you know? And you just had to pick it out, because if you kept with that person, that rotten apple was going to make you rotten. So I think you have to be a strong person and face the fact that that's not a true friend. So friends come and go. They
eventually show their true color.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And I think that...
That's what I say. Give them enough rope, they hang themselves. I do that. Adults. I do that as an adult.
So I think that stick to the people that know who you are and love you for who you are.
Jessica, you want to say something about that?
Yeah. I mean, in high school, I pretty much did my own thing. I didn't really look for acceptance. I don't look for acceptance from people on the streets. I look for acceptance from my family. Basically, that's what I was trying to say before. So if a person...
What turned you off? What turned you off? You sound like you turned off to people for some reason.
Just being hurt, like tired of being hurt, tired of people taking advantage of me, using me, abusing me, you know.
How far back does that go?
Oh, goes way back. Teenage years, early teenage years, like 13. Goes real far back. I've had...
Your stuff goes back to childhood. I know I spoke to you.
Yes, yes.
You've had a very rough time.
Very rough, very rough.
You want to talk about it?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Growing up, I grew up in a household where I didn't have a mother. My mother passed away. I didn't have a father. My father passed away. Didn't have any role models. Everybody was negative. You know, I had people fondling with me, you know, negatively. You know, I was raped by my own uncle. You know, I was raped by my sister's father, you know. And no help with school, no help with anything. You know, and that kind of isolated me from the world, kind of pushed me away from everybody and everything. And, you know, I went in this, like, delusional state of mind where I didn't give a freak anymore, you know, so.
You survived.
Yeah, I survived, and I had a lot of teachers and a lot of helpers, people other than my family, you know, because I guess they was too selfish, so to speak, to take their time out to help me, and everybody always wanted to, you know, shut me down, so to speak, rather than really get to the nitty-gritty of the problem and help me. But I learned to deal with it, and I'm coping with it, and I say I am a very happier person.
Okay.
Very happy.
I think probably one of your big anxieties, even till now, is trusting other people.
Yes, I agree. I agree.
And you test them, and you test them, and you test them when you first meet somebody.
I think we all do that. I think we all do that. We have, yeah.
You know what okay, we have a caller. Yes?
Hello?
Hello?
I'm on the air right now?
Hello?
I'm on the air right now?
Yeah, you're on the air.
Okay, I'm a psychology student in a Minnesota school. And this is back to your fears discussion. I just wanted to clear up the difference between the fears you were talking about and like crippling phobias. I have a friend who was actually at a party the other day, and this is actually a phobia of mine now, because my friend like woke up in the middle of the night, and this guy is just fucking his dick, and I'm just
Crazy. Okay. One of the things that I think we have the most anxiety about in life, especially in socializing and in relationships, is being honest. Because you can, I think that's where we hold back. We want approval from other people, right? So in our minds, we have to really lie a lot. We don't really tell the truth to ourselves. There are a lot of things the other person's suggesting or recommending, you know, you do, how you think, and you know, in your own mind, you're saying that's not really where I want to go. You're not really being honest with yourself. So I think one of the ways you can really help yourself is to be honest. And what happens if you're honest with somebody you're trying to get approval from?
They might not like it.
Yeah.
That's right.
Might not.
So what happens? We eventually become more and more dishonest in our relationships, or we avoid them. We just stay away from that person. We do this with parents too. And so that's reinforced over and over and over again. So you really, what you're talking about is you really want someone you can reveal yourself to, even the good, the bad, and the ugly, and have them accept it, and they in turn can do the same with you. That's what makes a good relationship, or what makes a good marriage, or whatever, partnership. Do you carry, any of you carry some of your parents' fears and anxieties? Anxieties, let's talk about those. Did they embed certain fears in you when you were growing up, when you were very young? Parents do that. Don't do this, don't do that, you might get hurt.
Yeah. When I was younger, when I was really small, probably like 6 or 7, my family, I wouldn't say it was just my parents, it was everyone really in my family. They were like, oh, you're such a pretty little girl. Oh my gosh, you have to be pretty, you have to be nice, act like a girl, sit with your legs closed. Don't say that that's not nice, play nice. And it's like, some people take that and then they just become really like uptight and stuff, but I just went total opposite with it. I rebelled as soon as I turned like 13. I was like, no, I'm not gonna play nice. I'm not gonna be the nice girl that says nice things or whatever. Like, I kinda got over that, but at the same time, it still like instilled that fear of rejection with me, because I felt like even sometimes now, like in the morning, I probably change my clothes like 3 or 4 times before I leave the house, just because I have to be perfect. Like, I don't want, and it has to do with school too, I guess, because I was always one of the popular people, but I feel like I had to maintain that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give anyone a reason to try to put me down, or anyone a reason to say something to me to make me feel some type of way about myself, you know what I mean? And I'm a very like free-spirited type of person. Like, I accept people as they are. You know what I mean? I don't judge anyone for what they do or who they're friends with or whatever. I believe in right and wrong. So if you do right, then I'm cool with you. But if you do wrong, I can't be your friend, and that's just it, whether you feel a way about it or not.
I have a question.
Sure.
All right, my question is about the environment. Like, are you guys also, I know that you guys are like worried about the school thing, but are you like, you know, that whole Gulf oil, I mean, not like the oil spill, that you guys get worried about that, or like political stuff or things like that?
I'm like a huge environmentalist. I'm a vegan. Like, I'm very for animal rights. I'm very for LGBTQ rights. Like, if I feel like I'm being discriminated against or someone else is being discriminated against, I'm going to say something about it. I don't stand for that at all. As far as...
But the vegan thing, hold on, I have a question. You said you're vegan. Do you get upset when you see that people are eating meat or anything like that?
No, that's their choice. However, I will educate them on the facts about the meat industry and, you know, dairy products and stuff like that. Like, just like with the environment, I can't force everyone in the world to recycle, but I can let you know that how many years it takes for a plastic bag to, you know what I mean, like biodegrade or whatever. I can just educate you on it.
Bring the intelligence. You try to educate them, and you're combating fear with intelligence.
Yeah, basically, because telling someone what to do isn't going to make them do what you want them to do. You just have to educate them on the topic and let them know, basically, let them know what it is for exactly what it is, and that's it. It's up to them to make the choice whether they want to listen to you or not.
All right, what about peer pressure? Like, you know, like some kids are always like peer pressuring other kids to do stuff like drugs, things like that. I mean, is that like a big fear or something like that? That you like educate people with that, or I don't know.
Try to encourage people to be themselves. Don't follow other people.
Right. Oh, like if you're at a party and you see somebody acting a little wacky, you just tell them like slow their roll down or something like that.
I'm like the designated sober person at parties. Like, if I see you drinking too much, I will take your cup from you. I don't care if I know you or I don't know you. Like, you're gonna sit down or you're gonna go home. Like,
you'll take their keys.
Yeah, I will take your cup from you and I will pour it out and I'll say you have had enough, and that's it. Just because someone who's too drunk, like, no one's gonna have a good time if everyone's acting crazy. And if you're smoking cigarettes around me, I will let you know throat cancer, lung cancer, emphysema, brain aneurysms. Like, I go in.
Wow.
But after that, I'll just be like, okay, but you can smoke your cigarette, but just so you know, like, don't smoke it around me. I don't like that.
Okay.
like secondhand smoke and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's get back to anxiety. When is anxiety a good thing? Fear a good thing? That was one of the questions I asked you. You guys didn't do your
Yeah,
homework?
no.
All right.
I think fear is a good thing when it's a situation where you know it's wrong, so you fear it because it's wrong. So.
Yeah, I think that if your mom tells you, don't drink, don't smoke, and then your friend tells you, hey, you want this, you want that. You think of it, you're fearing your mom from kicking your butt. Second, you're fearing that if you do, you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna feel like you didn't take your mom's advice, and you don't want your mom to you don't want your mom to be like, oh, why did he do this? Why did he, you want your mom to be proud of you. So I think that's when fear, it takes a good place. And yeah.
Denise?
I think fear kind of motivates you.
Exactly.
The fear that you have is up to you, but your choice of what you do with it, either you let you hold you back or you just push through it.
You're really talking about fear of failure. You've got an exam, you want to do well. That kind of anxiety is good.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. You're meeting someone and you want their approval, so you're not going to act out or do something to hurt them and say something. It's not good. When is fear not good? You know what drives our society is fear. Complete fear. We have fear of the communists. We have fear of Cuba. We have fear of just about everything. The Tea Party, the Republicans. It's a motivating force. It prevents us. It creates images and values for us that we don't necessarily want. They may not be our own values. But if you're told over and over again that you should be afraid of gays, of Hispanics, Mexicans, African Americans, white supremacists, those you got to be afraid of. It sinks in after a while, it becomes a program. So let's go back for a minute. In a normal, let me just mention this, in a normal person, anxiety and fear are good because they can motivate somebody to achieve great things. But in someone who's not stable, who has a lot of issues, they have these fears of it. I'll give you an example of fear of abandonment, okay? This is an individual who, as a child, people left that particular person. The parents weren't available. Someone died. Needs to be screened well. This is somebody who is not too stable. What does this person do? What I'm trying to say to you is oftentimes a fear is a wish. If you can follow that. Most people, someone who's not stable, who's neurotic, their fears are basically wishes, and I'll give you an example of how that works. Let's say you're somebody who has a fear of abandonment, right? And you're dating somebody. Now what will happen is you will do everything possible to push that person away and have your wish of abandonment. Okay? You follow what I'm saying? You have a fear of it, but it's also a wish. And you'll do everything possible in your crazed, irrational mind to push that person out the door. And you'll do it repeatedly with other people as well. So very often, you know, we talk about gays. Guys are homophobic. Well, anyone who overdoes it with the homophobia, you have to question whether they're threatened by something inside of themselves. So it's a complicated thing, but do you follow it? That, and I've seen people do it. For example, you have a fear of failure, and you have such a high anxiety level that when you go into the test, you fail it. That's because the wish was there to fail. Okay, let's go back to your individual fears, whatever they may be. Let's try to be honest. Maybe things that you haven't admitted to other people or to yourself, and we all have them. Okay, we have a caller. Let's take this caller first. Yes?
Yes, good evening. How are you?
Okay.
I have a question for all four young ladies. Besides the family support, do any belong to like a youth program or a religious organization?
I do.
Yeah.
How is that? How does that organization helps you to cope with some of your fears?
Okay, well, I'm a very religious girl, and I've been brought up this way. This helps me out because I can feel like I can have God as my friend, and I can speak to him, and when I want to cry, I can cry to him, and when I want to thank him, I can thank to him. And my youth has helped me talk to God and tell him how I feel, and pray every night and try to be that girl that he would always love. So I think that's how I can overcome my fears, and that's with the Lord.
Oh, should we all go? Okay. I'm actually a member of this organization called GEMS. It's Girls Education and Mentoring Services, and we have groups there. Well, every day there's a group, and I can just go there and talk about how I'm feeling. And like if I'm dealing with something I don't know how to deal with it, I can talk to the adult staff members there, and just it's a place where I feel comfortable, so I can open up. You know what I mean?
That's
and
great.
I take in what they say, and I'm there all the time. Like I also volunteer at shelters and stuff like that. I feel like doing service to the community helps me, I guess, cope with some of the issues that I deal with, and also it just makes me feel like I matter, you know what I mean, that I make a difference. And I feel like that's also a difference, because when I feel like I'm important, then I'm a lot happier with myself. So.
What do you think of that? What do you have any more questions you want to ask about that? Why are you asking that question? Do you feel that's important? Are you still on the line?
Hello, can I ask a question?
Sure.
How do we approach our parents of something that we did wrong, but we have like the fear of the consequences of telling them?
You want to answer that?
I think you should just tell them, because they're your parents. Either way, whether they react the way you want them to or not, the point is to get it off your chest. Because if you feel bad about it, then you should just let it go. Because holding on to it isn't going to help the situation either.
Being honest.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Being honest.
As much as it hurts and as much as you're fearing, I think that's the best way to go.
And you'll be happy it's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people are afraid of hurting the other person. It's okay for you to be hurt, for them to ignore you and criticize you. But in your mind, you refrain from, you really think you're going to hurt the other person if you are honest with them. So a lot has to do with you feeling like you're not going to kill anybody with words, but a lot of people feel like they will. Words have such power.
Yeah, but you see, like things like my girlfriend, she's trying to push the sex for her.
She what? Can you speak a little louder?
my girlfriend, she's pressuring me into having sex with her.
And what do you want us to answer?
What happened? I can't hear you.
I think if you're not ready to have sex with that person, then you shouldn't force yourself to, because sex is very intimate, and I feel like we've been desensitized to it, but I still think it's a very intimate interaction. So if you're not ready to take that step, then you should just not do it. And if you guys are in a relationship and that's your girlfriend, then she should respect that.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we get good calls here and there.
Yeah.
So, your own fears, biggest ones. You know, things, kids never think about their parents dying, passing away. They think their parents are immortal. But it could happen. There's no certainty in life. They can get in an auto accident. I doubt any of you really think about that, the mortality of, they're big and there's nothing's going to happen to them.
I do. I think.
You do.
Yes,
You
I
have
do.
anxiety about
Every
it.
day.
Well, that's good. That's good. That's healthy. Or anxiety about being successful someday. Do you think you're going to be successful? I mean, there's an awful lot of competition out there. Are you going to have? Are you shooting for the American dream? That's been blown. That American dream. Big time. So maybe you can share a little bit. Do you want to start?
Sure. Like, I had two fears, actually. One was success. One was, I called it rejection, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's more abandonment, I would say. Because from a small age, my mom kind of raised me without my dad. Because the story was that my mom, she told my dad that she was pregnant with me, and he basically left. So basically, I had to cling on to one side of the family, not knowing your second side of your family. So it kind of hurts that you don't know part of it. You don't know if you have brothers or sisters. So in a way, I did feel abandonment. But then I kind of took it as, well, I'm going to succeed without you. I'm going to do everything I can without you. And I never really faced it because my family, they never talked about it. They never was one to bring situations up about it. So I kind of never faced it.
That's rough, and that's really tough. So you never talked to your mother about it?
I tried to have conversations about it, but it's just that they keep avoiding it. And it's like, I'm at the age where I can talk about it. I felt like I've grown as a person where I could talk about it. But it's really, the communication has to be between two people. You can do all that you want to have that communication on a certain topic, but if they don't want to, it's not going to happen.
And why do you think they don't want to? A lot of times it's just too painful. If they're healthy, it's too painful, but it's also a secret. There's stuff there that they don't want to talk about that they don't want you to know. It's a family secret. A lot of families have secrets that, things have happened and they just want to bury them. And they don't want to discuss it. But I don't think it's fair to you to do something like that to a young person, because they think, you were alive, you saw what happened, you heard what happened, you reacted. It's not that you weren't there. I mean, they're acting as if, you were numb.
I kind of feel like they don't want to face it either. Like, It's been so long that they don't want to, bring it up. And I feel like my mom is a strong person, so she really dealt with the situation the best way she could. So I really feel that
they don't want to bring it up.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing about, I've observed about this generation is much more honest. They want to bring things up, but the parents don't. They're from another generation, and they don't want to talk about certain things. And it's a difficult situation because you guys want to communicate, you want to know, and you're not afraid. you know. So it's tragic, really. It's sad. Maria?
Well, I've had like a lot of self-esteem problems, and I sometimes look in the mirror and I'm like, I don't want to be perfect, because I think being perfect, it's something not beautiful.
Doesn't exist.
Yes. I think imperfection is beautiful. That's the way I look at it. And I'm scared that if I'm going to meet someone, that person is going to think something bad about me, or is going to say, ew, she's ugly, or I don't want you to be my friend because you have this, or I don't want you to be my friend because of this. Like, I think being accepted for who you are, and I think that we're all different. No matter what, we're all different. We're never going to be alike. We're all gonna like different things. We're all gonna like different music. We're all gonna like different foods. We're all gonna like a certain way to dress. Like, I'm not the girl that likes to wear high heels or whatever. I mean, she likes to wear a skirt. She looks really pretty in it, but I don't like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
She likes to wear baggy pants. That's nice. She likes to wear sandals, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like wearing sandals, you know what? So I think that we're all different, you know?
Yeah,
And
it's true.
And sometimes people want to have someone like them, and they don't want to
That's very true. They want somebody just the way they
Yes.
think and feel and dress and look, and anything else is not acceptable. It's very true.
Yeah, and I feel like every time I meet someone and I'm not like them, those people reject me for who I am. And I feel like I'm the kind of person that accepts everyone. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you look like. I don't care what you like. I like you, you know? And I think that's my biggest fear.
That's your biggest asset, too.
Yes.
Biggest
So,
strength.
yeah. And I would have to say that as much as I fear those type of people, or as much as I fear those types of topics or whatever, I feel like they make me stronger. They make me want to success in life. They make me want to overcome all my obstacles. And I think that that's my biggest goal in life. I want to show them, like, I'm not like you. And just because I'm not like you doesn't mean I'm not going to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's one of my biggest fears, yet my biggest accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell them a little bit about yourself? You have an interesting background. You play music. You play the piano 5 hours a day.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And you write, you compose music.
Yes, I think that everyone has a passion in life, whether it's drawing, singing, acting, whatever it is. To me, it's music. I think that music hides all my... It's like every time I'm like somewhere that I don't want to be, or I'm sad, or I just can write it. Give me a pen and a paper and I'll just write all my things down, because that's how I feel comfortable. I never feel more comfortable than when I'm with my piano and me singing. Like, that's like my world, you know?
That is your world.
And that's my passion. I think that that's where I can be comfortable. You know what I mean?
That's wonderful.
Yes, and I think that, I mean, she might like something, or she might like something. Like she said, she likes to be with the
Gem.
Gem, exactly. She likes that because she feels comfortable there. And I think that everyone in this world should have something like that, because that's where you can be who you really are. You don't have to hide who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to like this because this person likes it. So I love piano, I love music, and that's where you really can see my true colors in music.
Your real self.
My real self.
Okay. You're planning to go to what school when you graduate?
Manhattan School of Music.
That's great.
Thank you.
And your parents support this, yeah?
Yes, they do. My mom, my dad's a musician, so he supports it 100%. But my mom, she's always like, you know, if you don't make it, you always have, she's a nurse. So she's like, you can be a nurse, a doctor, psychologist, you should have a background. I'm like, Ma, no, okay. You know, so she always has that nursing feel.
Practical.
Yes. And my dad's like, no, leave her. She wants to be a musician. Let her be what she wants to be, you know? So I get 98% from Mom, 100% from Dad.
Okay. That's good, 180%.
So, yeah.
Thank you. Jessica? They want to talk about it. Okay.
I would have my fears. When I was like 5 or 6, I was molested, so I have a fear of close contact with men. It really, like, just being around men in general makes me nervous. I don't like it. Like, I would get up and leave a room, and I don't know. I guess that's something that I have to get over time, but like right now, I guess it works for me because most girls my age are distracted by boys, and I don't have to deal with that issue. I can pretty much focus on what I have to do for myself. But another fear of mine is, I have quite a few actually, now that I sit and think about it. I have a fear of rejection. Like, I'm really nice to everybody. Like, even if I don't like you, I will be so nice to you, you won't even know that I don't like you. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just, like, my enemies don't even know they're my enemies. I just feel like I have to be nice to people because I want people to be nice to me. And, like, as far as helping people, I want to be a social worker. So right now I'm kind of just volunteering and
That's great.
doing a lot of, like, peer counseling and stuff like that because, well, not only does it build my resume and look really good on college applications,